This is Justin from Breakout Capital Ventures. It is Sunday, the 21st of September, 2025. I'm going to start with KDNC. And this one here it's a really good one. It's in a very long-term reversal zone down here at 5.88 down to 1.295. We covered it off this week with Alan Green. We talked about the fundamentals. Also covered off the chart. It's had a good week. Since we shot that video. But, do I think this move is over? No, I do not. I think that, the first point of call here is this 5.88. And I think breaking a hold above that, I think it's going to bring us to 10.2 up to 12.6 pence. So I think that's where it's heading short term. I'm going to flip to the weekly. And I've got a bigger target here. So as we see, it's had an absolutely, monstrous sort of a decline since when did that start? August 2013. So where do I think that's heading? Well, I think that, it hit that sort of 10.2 to 12.6. But in the longer term, I think this one could be heading up to 58.2, up to 73.6 pence. There's potentially an awful lot of bags in KDNC. It's got some massive projects. It's just recently done a deal where it's got $40 million of income coming in. It's got a massive project as well. I think a $2 billion project, which is going to come into production soon as well. So well worth listening to the podcast we did with Alan Green and for the fundamentals. But, the chart there looks absolutely fantastic. So that's KDNC. Want to pop on your watch list and do some research. MDH is my next one. And this is another one we covered off with Alan Green. This one here it's an Aquis listed stock. It's going to move over to AIM on the 30th of September. We discussed that during the video. But, where do I think that's heading? Well, it's a £3 million market cap. It's tiny, and yet it's got helium. I believe it's got income. This is just outstanding value where it is today. And I don't think it's going to stick around at those prices as soon as it lists on AIM. I think you get a lot of investor interest. But I think that my initial target here is 10.29 up to 12.78. But as I say, this has been basing for, since it's been on, since it came to the market back in 24. I think it RTO'd or something like that. But, it could literally go anywhere. So, we've seen it here before. It's had a massive spike up to nearly 10p. And I think once investors realise what's on offer there, I think that's going to have an absolute superb run. So potential full bags there and more worth doing your research. Next one I'm going to do is Defence Holdings, ALRT. And this one here, we've called this absolutely amazing, haven't we? We gave that as a reversal down at here, that to blue box 0.34, basically. And, we said that, it looked like it's going to break out. It did indeed. And we gave these targets and, it hit the top of those targets, which I gave at the last podcast at 2.41. And I think it went to 2.4 pence. So we were almost absolutely on the money. It sold off a bit. 1.1 acted as support. That's absolutely brilliant. And I think in Friday's trading, we've had a sort of technical breakout. Where do you think that's heading? Well, for me, I think that is a technical breakout, and I think we're going to see trading up to this red box zone here at 2.78 up to 3.26 pence. So it could go higher, of course, but that for me, see where we are when we get into that red box zone there. So, potential bit of reward in that one, isn't it? So, potential 50%, probably a bit more. So, yeah, alert looking pretty good. And next one we're going to do is OMI, and this one had a placing during the week. It's a gold play, and it's had some absolutely outstanding shallow grades. It's absolutely fantastic. And day trading is in it. So, if Barron's in it, that it's been researched well. Barron's been calling stocks correctly for as long as I can remember, well over a decade. And, if somebody's holding a stock, it's one to take note if Barron day trading is in it. But where do I think this is headed? We gave that as reversal zone down here. We won't go into that, but, another great call from us. Calling that almost spot on again. But I've got a blue box reversal zone down here at 19.4. Down to 17.4, which is roughly around the placing price. So another great call. So where do I think that's heading? Well, I think that, short term, I've got this, break and hold above sort of 26, 27 pence. That's going to bring us up to 39.1 to 44.7. I'm going to flip to the weekly. And, I think that this one really is, if they can keep on getting the grades that they're getting, that this is going to be an outstanding one. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this weekly chart come into play, which would give us 46.5 up to 58.6. And I think we could probably extend that box. We're probably talking 70 pence plus. So, with gold flying, it could go anywhere. So, outstanding grades, looking pretty good, just capitalized, worth doing some research. Next one I'm going to do is GSCU. This one we called last week, didn't we? It was in a reversal zone at 2.3 down to 1.69, and it's bounced out of that box, which is great news. I don't think it's really got started. If you look at when they previously started their drilling, it wasn't that many weeks before they started to give results. I think we're about 10 days into it. They've shown on X, they've shown the drilling is underway. And I think if break and hold above sort of 5.25 pence, that's going to bring us up to this red box zone here. And I think depending on what sort of grades they get and how silver's doing, I think we should be talking 6.1p as a minimum, and we could be talking 8.8 and potentially even higher. Probably go to 10p. It just depends on obviously the news out of the company, but definitely worth doing some research on GSEU. SMN is my next one, and this one here. He's sort of just stepping up, isn't it, all the time? So we keep on getting little steps. So we said that one there. We've had this one here, and then we've had a bit of a sell-off. But I think the next point of call really is this 0.054 up to 0.0604. Longer term, if they can get a good hit or whatever it is that they need to do, then I think this 0.0884 up to 0.1075 is crying out to be hit. At some point, I see that coming into play. So MSMN, worth doing some research on that one. FC is my next one, and this one has had a good week, and another great call from us. I know that we called it down here because I'm in profit. So that's definitely a correct call and a great call from us yet again. I think the first point of call here is going to be that gap fill at 13.5. Break and, once we've filled that, probably exit some traders. And then I can see that moving on. Breaking a hold above 17.5 pence. That's going to bring us to 21.15 up to 24.7 and potentially even higher. So, worth doing some research, finding out what's going on there. But it's at least a bag from where we are today. So pop it on your watch list, do some research. Fast is my next one, and this is a chart request. And I think a few of these are actually. But, I've got that in a blue box reversal zone here, and it's sort of holding quite well. So, it's at 0.33 all the way up to 0.379. I'd like to see that hold. I do have a red box zone here because they do have a tendency of doing a placing. So let's assume they're not going to do a placing. Fingers crossed. Need to check the cash position. But, and if it can break and hold above sort of 0.525, that's going to bring us up to this 0.908 up to a whole 1 pence, 0.065. So that is fast. Another one to pop on your watch list. BRES is my next one. And this one's a tricky one because, it hasn't done particularly well since it's come on to the market. It's sort of, it hasn't, has it? It's been down, but it started to get some good news out of it. And I think that, we gave this red box here at 5.84 to 6.38, which is sort of tagged and it's sort of bet with sellers a little bit. But I think we're going to break that. And I think we're going to go higher. I think we're going to go into this 7.78 up to 9.08. And once we get into there, it's probably going to meet a few sellers. But once it's done that, then the next leg is going to be exciting, especially if they can keep the good news going. It could go anywhere because there's nothing really then to stop it. It's like it could go anywhere from there, but let's see what happens when we get to 7.78 to 9.08. There we go. That's BRES. NS is my next one, and this one here, well, another great call from us, isn't it? We gave this 0.261 down to 0.25 as a reversal. And indeed, that was correct call. We're up to 0.35 roughly, aren't we? So where do I think that's going? Well, break and hold above 0.38. That's going to bring us up to this red box here at 0.514 up to 0.588 and potentially even higher. But obviously we need to break and hold above that previous high to activate that red box there. So that's SPNS. We're doing some research on that one. INSG is my next one. And this one here, I gave this in my Telegram group actually at 21 pence down to 19.7 as a reversal. It was correct, it rose, but then it had a sell-off, didn't it? I think that they had the annual report out. It obviously wasn't well received by the market, but I think it was overdone. It looks to me like, it's sold off and the bull stepped in. Where the first point of call there is fill that gap at 23 pence. I think once it's done that, I think that reversal zone there is still in play. And for me, I'm still expecting another leg. So I think, breaking a hold above 40 pence, that's going to bring us up to 49.8 up to 58 pence. I think that's going to be activated. But obviously the company needs to drop good news. But for me, that correction from this sort of low down here, that's been a pretty good correction, and I think we're due another leg to the upside. ES is my next one, and Silver Bullet. There we go. Right, so I don't have a blue box reversal zone here. It's been at a decline, but I think that point of call, as long as we can hold above this level here at 23 pence-ish, I think that, we're talking 61 pence up to 71 pence. There's not a lot for me else to say on that one, unfortunately, but it's a bit of a tricky one. You need to do your research. Silver Bullet Data Services, so do your research, but as I say, hold above that level there. Should as long as we can drop the right news, that red box should come into play. Next one I'm going to do is Rock. And this one here, Rockfire Resources, we called that pretty well, haven't we? We gave that blue box reversal zone down here at 0.09, which is correct. We gave this red box here, which is again correct. It met with sellers. And for me, I just want to see a bit more of a corrective play on that. I think you're probably going to see a bit more upside, then a little bit more downside. And then hopefully then we can be ready to take another stab, break that prior high and run for another leg. But for me, I don't have a target, not until we've got a bit more trading history on that one. So that is Rock. CHP is my next one, and just get that one up. And this one here, so I've got two targets here. Nothing's changed actually since my last chart, really. I've got a red box down here at 0.002, which could come into play. I'm not saying it will. And then, but if we can break and hold above this 0.0055, that's going to bring it to this red box down here at 0.0065 up to 0.0075. So that is my two options on that one, either down or up. I don't know which way it's going. So it's one really to do research. It's a small market cap, so it could go either way. SYN is my next one. This here, it's in a long-term reversal zone down here. So this blue box is sort of holding at 0.0526 down to 0.0206. Where's that headed? Well, I don't have a target. The way I look at it is potentially a gap play. So break above that 0.0526. They should fill that gap there at 0.0652. That's a couple of bags from where it is today. So, that's loads of money. So, that's all I can say with that one. Worth doing your research, find out what it's all about. And then, once we've got to there, then hopefully we can start to track it a bit better and get another target. Bank is my next one. And another one which we've called extremely well. We gave that as a reversal down here at 6.45 down to 4.14, which was correct. And we got a reversal to the upside, and we gave that target price of 20.6 up to 24.6, which is correct again. So that was really well, wasn't it? So we've done extremely well on that one. I've got a red box in here. I know it's just recently done a capital raise. So I think the capital raise price should act as support. So this red box might not come into play, but it's still there. So I'm going to talk about it. 9.55 down to 7.25. But let's assume that doesn't happen because the placing price should act as support. And where do I see that heading? Well, I think the next leg, once we're broken and held above sort of 20 pence, that's going to bring us up to this 30.2 up to 35.8 pence. So, and probably even higher, who knows? But it depends what sort of news they drop. But bank, there's still a couple of bags, at least in that one, isn't there, potentially? So worth doing research. Next one to do is Fab, and just get this one up. It's always been a popular one for chart requests. And I'm going to quickly just talk about that one because for me, I still got this red box in here at 19.4 to 21.5, and I think that's still an active target, and I think that's where it's going to be headed. So that is fab. Next one we're going to do is GEO, and just get that one up. And Geo Exploration. It's had an absolutely tremendous run, hasn't it? We gave that as a reversal down here at 0.16, and it's gone all the way up to 0.5. So, another great call from us. Absolutely fantastic. But where do I see that headed? Well, I've got a blue box reversal zone there at 0.289 down to 0.241. That's where, from a technical perspective, it's going to go. It might not get there. But if it does, I think that'd offer an absolutely fantastic opportunity for a re-entry. And where do I see that going then? If we can, get an entry in that box there, hopefully then we can run up, break this prior high at sort of 0.5, and should bring us up to this 0.694 or to 0.802, which incidentally, it would fill the gap. So, that's kind of working out pretty well, isn't it? So, that looks pretty good. So that is GEO Exploration. GGP is my next one. And somebody asked me for this, I think one of the Telegram groups. And I said, I don't follow it closely. I don't follow it that closely. It's not one I trade, but, I still do the chart for it. But so there we go. But, where do I see that headed? Well, first point of call, I think you're going to fill that gap at 325, fill that gap. And then I've still got this red box here. I think we're going to be heading into that at some stage. So breaking a hold above 362. It's going to bring us up to this 395.6 up to 447.25, potentially even higher. It just depends where gold goes. It could be start of another leg, but as a conservative target of where I think that's going, once or if it breaks that prior high. So that is GGP. ORCP is my next one, and just get that one up. Computer's going slow there. Oracle Power. Where do I see that going? Well, there's another one. It's just a spiky one, isn't it? I'd say, where do I see that headed? Well, if you can catch that on a spike, that's going up to 0.034 to 0.0394. I don't have a blue box reversal zone on it. So it's one really to take some a guess based on your research. So that is ORCP. D is my next, and it's my last one for today. Huddle Group, sorry. So this one here, another one. This is it's a bit like BRES. It hasn't done that well, really. It's gone up a bit, but it hasn't had a super run. It had a little one there, but nothing mega. So it's been basing since 23. So bigger the base, higher the space, as they say. So what I'm going to say is, breaking a hold above 4.15 pence, that's going to bring it up to 4.84 to 5.35. But if the news is good, it could go much higher than that. I'm not going to restrict it to that box. It's a really hard one from a charting perspective. Because of the fact that it hasn't performed that well, but evidently the company is in a good position. It's a good company. It just hasn't got the backing of investors. It hasn't got the sentiment behind it. But once it does do that, it could go anywhere. So that's me for this Sunday. Have a great weekend.